Which school you think Mark they go?
Depends on where Mark forward from.
Yeah, well, I grew up on UWI, Mona campus, College Common, right by Hermitage and Augustown. You know?
Yeah, no, the Mark that you know, what's your best guess as to a high school that I think?
Probably JC.
Yeah, I went to Campion.
Oh, all right. Campion did I go with the second guess?
So Mark,
Yeah.
which high school you like him used to go?
Which part you grew up?
I grew up most of my time in a Kingston, because I did born in a Mobile still, right?
Yeah.
Born in a Mobile, Maroon Town, Vansfield side.
Okay.
Between this and Orange, and then I came to Kingston around 97, 98. So I did there on Stadium Garden side,
Okay.
Mountain Terrace,
Yeah.
which is right across from Nannyville.
Not Excelsior. No.
No.
Yeah, I'm just going off for the geography.
Yeah, but
Which school you go?
Arden, you know something I was saying Arden, you know?
Yeah,
Two good school, two top
Yeah.
school.
But I guess Arden a little better, but Campion cool.
Yeah, you wouldn't win the argument.
Yeah, you wouldn't win because Wolmer's is
Not even in the conversation. That is what Wolmer's is.
This is me in the future. Always want to prove a point. Now we're contemplating another junction in life. We live with our decisions. It all come down to choice. I made use of my opportunity. Now I'm where I wanna be.
Look who we have in the cut today. Leader of the opposition, Mark Golding. Enough respect, the
Yeah, man.
boss. Yeah, man. And one of the leaders of the reggae revolution, Jesse Royal.
Yeah.
Respect,
Enough
my brother.
respect.
Always a
And
job.
before we even start talk, we have to drop the disclaimer. No share, no razor,
None
no
at all.
product.
Not at all.
Come close to the Rasta man
None
in the
at all, none
barbershop,
at all.
right? The Rasta man is just a part of the conversation.
Yeah, and
it's
Marshall, I'm a
interesting.
brother, right?
Yeah, it's a special request for me
Yeah.
because it's interesting. Some of the most spirited conversations happen in the barbershop. But one thing that we always lack in the barbershop is the Rasta perspective.
Yeah.
Right,
And I'm very happy that my Rasta brethren,
Yeah, man.
But there,
real
man.
philosopher.
So you're creating new ground.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the ground always exists, you know. If you check it, you know, enough barbershop even across Jamaica and enough Rasta man in there. If you check what me I say in terms of, it's another job, you know, and I don't really look down on anything. Physical appearance, right, you know, to me important, yes, but inside, really I deal with you now, you know what I mean? Like, how clean is your heart, not your haircut?
Exactly. Enough respect, man. I give thanks for you come through because enough man would have shy, enough Rasta man would have shy away from the setting, but the conversation is important, and as you say, is what in your heart.
Yeah, when you know
Higher
yourself,
level of
you're good.
consciousness.
Higher level.
Higher level of consciousness.
Exactly. I was doing some research. I realized that you did higher education in England. You went to Oxford?
Yeah.
What is Oxford the elite institution that the world you went? We just hear about Oxford. What did Oxford represent for you and for who you are today?
Yeah, well, it has a long history. You know, it was founded, I think, before Jamaica was discovered is not probably the right word, but before Columbus came to Jamaica. So it's been around a long time. And the history is very present because the buildings look that way and the setup and some of the ways they teach as well, some of are long-standing. So they have a tutorial system of teaching. So it's like a one-on-one with you and a tutor, or maybe two or three of you. So you're not in big classrooms there, you know. That's how they do their thing. Lectures are secondary. It's the tutorials which really matter.
Really?
Yeah, and you have to present you have a tutorial each week, and every week you have to present your essay on the topic set the prior week, and then it gets torn apart, you know, not literally, but intellectually and so on. So it's quite rigorous in that way. But, you know, it's yeah, I mean, it's an intellectual environment for sure.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's also a fun-loving place. I have a lot of activities and recreational things going on there.
What did you study there?
I studied politics, philosophy, and economics for 1 year, and I switched to law after the first year and decided I was going to pursue that. So I did the law degree in 2 years, because that's a 3-year degree.
Okay.
If you don't mind me asking,
Yeah.
what time, what era was this? Like
84 to 87.
84 to 87.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to map the scene musically and all the youth them, you know, because I feel like
Steel Pulse and Aswad, that was, UB40.
David
and on the
Hines,
Jamaican
man.
side, of course, Dennis Brown, Gregory Isaacs, Third World was active then too, and others, Bob
Mighty
of course
Cat
had passed, but Peter was still around, I think. I can't remember what year Peter died.
Speaking of musically, you have some musical history as well. Was that the time when you were learning?
I was in a band there, actually.
At Oxford?
Yeah.
We're in a band.
I used to sing. I was the lead singer in a band. Yeah. In fact, I performed on the same show as Hugh Masakela. And,
lead singer?
Yeah.
We're not going to ask him for singing.
No, we're not going to do that. No pressure, see?
Anybody that sing today, just your eye.
Yeah, I'm the real singer.
But you see, that's interesting. That's why I'm asking, because it's like schooling is one thing, in terms of, what would you say? The academic, but then in terms of schooling, in terms of, okay, what's going on around me, the culture? Because remember, for me, like when you go to college, and like at university, that's your opportunity now to literally be able to have a best friend from South Africa at the same time as knowing somebody from Pakistan and Russia. I remember I left Jamaica for like a year and a half. My mother used to work with the United Nations, right?
Okay.
And then I lose my way a little in Jamaica. I graduated from Arden, went to Meadowbrook for like 3 months. Then I went to Mobay, wasn't too working on, so my mom got me a scholarship to Niagara College in Canada, right? And I remember one of my best friends when we did in Canada was a Russian youth. He had never left Russia before. He never known nothing about, you know what I mean? Like, literally the December when his parents saw him, they were looking at a completely different person, meaning he never cut him hair different before. He never used certain words, he never dressed certain way. And it was so interesting for me because this was the first time living out of Jamaica. You know what I mean? And that is definitely something that I hope everybody get the chance to do, or as best as they can, the opportunity to see other cultures, see other people out there. There's other existences, other ways of life, other ways of doing things. And I think that helps us to appreciate who we are, what we have, and how we approach the world with it,
Yeah.
That's the disadvantage that enough youths in Jamaica face. Enough of them, they will leave them parish.
Or them community.
You know better than we. A lot of them don't even leave them community.
Hardly, for one reason or another.
But we are all working on it, you know what I mean? And I feel like we are moving to...
But I was very glad I was in that band at the time. We used to write a lot of the music that we played and so on. So songwriting was part of it. And then when I came back to Jamaica, I started to practice law. And we were doing DB&G as well, which is the investment firm that we started, the three of us started. I wanted a different dimension to life at the time. So I set up a little studio with a friend of mine, Ray Hitchens, who's a wicked guitarist. He used to teach guitar at the School of Music. He's now a lecturer up at UWI in ethnomusicology, I think they call it, or something like that. But that studio was an opportunity to write a lot of music, bring in artists, Richie Stevens, Nadine Sutherland, Toots has recorded there. Yeah, all the artists, man. Nice. So it was a wonderful experience as well. It wasn't commercially very viable, but for about 10 years we spent producing a lot of tunes, So that was a good outlet creatively for me at the time.
And that's interesting for us to know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you were a very successful financial banker, you did a lot of groundbreaking things. I think DB&G was one of the first financial entities of its kind in Jamaica.
I'd say so.
Yeah, so what was the pull to politics? Why not just stay in the financial world?
Well, I was in it for quite a long time, and eventually we decided to exit DB&G because it was a huge responsibility. We were managing large amounts of people's money and so on in an environment which was quite uncertain in Jamaica. So we decided to park it in good hands, and we found a buyer, Scotiabank, which is an international bank and a strong bank. And we felt that was part of the legacy, was to make sure that going forward, the clients who had money would be safe going forward.
Right.
So when we exited that now, it gave me some financial security. And I'd always grown up in an environment. My father was a philanthropist. He was an orthopedic surgeon, but he was somebody who was, his entire career here was around helping people. So I had that culture in my home.
Right.
And I figured that having, been blessed with success in business and in law, it was time to really start giving back to the country. And, politics, for all the negatives around it, is a way in which you can influence policy and the system, because the system is ultimately a system of rules and laws. And it's Parliament, which is politicians, who make those laws and can change them. So I always saw that, and as a lawyer, that's an area I'm comfortable in operating in. So I thought, so it just seemed to me the right way for me to provide service to the country. Having benefited it and been blessed, I felt I should give back that way.
Makes sense, makes sense. So Jesse, for you now, we obviously have to swing it back to reggae and the music.
Yeah.
What was your inroad into the music? What was the thing that make you say, yo, this more I start to write, record, perform?
I mean, if I said I had a moment, I would be lying. But I feel like I was kind of groomed. Yeah. So early on, my grandmother was choir director for a church called Sudbury Baptist.
Okay.
Where we used to go. So that whole experience, going to choir practice on Thursdays. Yes. Knowing the songs and so on. Even though I'm not singing the songs, but I know the songs, I'm aware. My mom loved singing. Yeah. And that was one level. I feel like most artists in Jamaica, I think them first, real experience with music is probably from the church, no matter who you is or where you come from.
And that's the R&B experience in America too, I think. The influence of gospel and church music is
true. Yeah, massive. Because you go. Yeah. And I think it's what do you call it? Praise and worship type. Yeah. Baptist type. You know what I mean? I think most of the Christians in Jamaica, is that type of.
I went to Mona Prep. And I was in the choir there too, and Noel Dexter, who was one of Jamaica's kind of leading musical figures, songwriter.
That name sounds very familiar.
He was a choir master there, or the head director of the choir. So it was a good training for a youth to learn to sing properly. And
Mr. Golden, I forgot to ask you to sing a song, because like music.
If not sing, at the bare minimum, we have to write something, right?
Yeah, well, we can do that. Anytime we're ready.
Yeah, man.
We're ready. Yeah.
But for me, I think after that was. So Ziggy, my best friend in prep school, Peter and Paul.
Okay.
That's when I came to Kingston. Yeah. Is Daniel Bambata, who is Ziggy Marley first son, right?
Okay.
So Uncle Ziggy literally became like a second father to me, right? I was literally in the presence, in the heat of it, right? Yes. You know how it is growing up around there. You're in a rehearsal. At 9 o'clock, you get picked up from school, we're going to the studio. Right. It's not like you get picked up from school and drop home, like you literally are just in the world. Okay. And at 9 years old, I couldn't tell you that, yes, I'm getting ready to become an artist.
Yeah. No. Well, that's similar to me because at 9 years old, I moved to Hope Pastures and I moved close to King Jammy's. So then we would go to the studio with them. So it's not like a moment where I can say, oh, is there somebody who want to become an artist? It was
a part of your grooming.
A part of grooming.
And I genuinely feel like we all have control, but I feel like we're experiencing ourselves, meaning like this life is you experiencing, but we're carefully crafted, man, and uniquely designed. It's not when a mango seed becomes a tree, it becomes the whole of the existence from the seed to the tree, to the fruit, to the root, everything is connected. Yeah. Now time reveals the different versions of it, right? Right. But it is what it is.
You have genetics and you have nurturing. Right. So part of it is conceived at the level of the seed, right through, but then nurturing also has an impact.
Nurturing is definitely a big part of it, but.
And what a blessing to get nurtured under Ziggy's hand,
Yeah, so
as a coming artist,
Uncle Steve, Uncle Damon when he was younger, meaning say, man like me would know before Halfway Tree drop.
Of course.
Right, we know Welcome to Jam before. Yeah. You know what I mean? And distant relatives for that entire summer, we were just in the
whole process.
So when did you first record your voice?
I think I first recorded, I want to say around 14. That was myself, Daniel, and Kurt White, who is also doing well now in dancehall. Him name Crash Dummy Productions. Him do Fresh Drop and a couple other tunes.
Oh,
for
yeah?
Bonia, yeah.
Mad.
And that was an important part, but I think the most important part in my artist career was meeting Fatis Burrell.
Fatis.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So Fatis Burrell was the shapeshifter, exterminator.
Yeah.
So Remus was my brother from school days. Remus a Fatis' son, and we used to make music together. But as me I say, when Fatis now, because is the direction now, is the, all right, this is why we do it,
Yes.
this is what we're doing. You need to read these books. Fatis was the first person who introduced me to Khalil Gibran.
Oh, really?
Right? And the first time I read The Prophet, changed my life.
The Big Dread.
One of the one of the most profound books in my life. And if you know Fatis, you know the type. Rugged, we're rough, we're tough, but we're still very intellectual, we're full of love, the type of music that but Fatis introduced me to some Teddy Pendergrass and some tunes some I never hear in my life. Meaning say, him never introduced me to the hardcore sizzler them, and we know that already. And he created those.
Of course.
But then it was interesting to learn where it forward from. Right? And he was giving me a big part of Fiend College, you know?
So you mentioned The Prophet, big book, top book.
Top book.
So you recommend that to anybody?
Yeah, man, I recommend that book to everybody, and the earlier you can get it and dive deep into that reality of thinking and that reality of life, meaning looking at it as experience in life.
Yeah.
It's just the better for you, because I feel like even with all the great things what Mr. Golding and other people have tried to do, we still have to, like, the youth, their mind have to ready for it. Right? And you can have the greatest idea in the world without a fit and ready army, without a fit and ready society, then you're talking to a wall.
Mr. Golding, give us a book. Jesse said Prophet. You have a book that you feel like would bring a lot of value to the youth.
Well, you know, Marcus Garvey's message is very important in Jamaica, I believe. Coming out of the history that we have, the brutality of slavery and colonialism. And, you know, as them say, we need to emancipate ourselves from mental slavery. And Marcus was really the man who I think did the most to give us the inspiration and pathway towards achieving that. So I think we need to really embrace his works and read, you know, that should be part of the curriculum at school.
Anything Marcus Garvey.
You see what I'm saying? That should be a part of the curriculum.
No, I can speak to that because it was the first book, Rasta, a Marcus Garvey book, and I was reading the book, and the book reached me, you know, and then there's a point where Marcus Garvey said, read, and he repeated 4 times. I say, if the boss say read, that means say, me have to read. And then from that, I kind of just went on a journey in just trying to read as many books and get as much
I think The Wise Man of Haile Selassie was that book for me. I don't know if you've ever read it.
Probably it.
Yeah, The Wise Man of Haile Selassie is that book for me. That did help give me identity now as a youth, because I think that in Jamaica too, not for the youth, them just not necessarily have identity. And when me identify with Marcus Garvey is that is a upright black man where I show you said I'm not operating from second place. I operate as original. You know what I mean? And then learning Marcus Garvey's stories, reading on the books and learning how he did grow up, and him did grow up with a white family right beside him. One of his best friends as a youth was a little white girl.
Oh, really?
And the impact that had on his mind. Just imagine that. So how you gonna tell me when me turn big man say we're not equal? And that's why I say experience, man.
Experience.
You see me I say? Help to shape this.
And, you know, one of the concerns I have, you know, is that reading really, I don't know how much it's central to the lives of younger people nowadays, you know. Whereas when my era as a youth coming up, there was less other options for entertainment and mental entertainment, you know. There was music. There was this one channel on TV, and it was black and white TV, no internet. And there was reading. So reading, whether it be comics or it be novels or whatever, or books that impart knowledge, it was a part of the life growing up, you know. And so sure that it's still part of it, and we have to try and encourage our youths and other youths to really
that's
see
very
it as a way of really developing your mind.
Which is why your generation, you know, some of the greatest thinkers we'll ever have. I mean, you have some other time, you know, but think about it. Think about this 50s all the way up to the 80s. Just think about what's bubbling. Just think about Marcus there, Malcolm there, Bob there, Tosh there, a finisher, all of these people, Black Panther move, there's a thing happening, right? So the reading was so crucial, the understanding of oneself. Now you have generations after that have benefited from, but don't necessarily know where to forward from, which is why you say reading is important.
I like you take it back this because I got carried forward now to this new age now, and I want both of you to give me your thoughts on the AI revolution. Because me I look into it, you know. Mr. Golden, and I'm not normal, you know. You see that AI is something it's scary and it can be a danger to the world.
It can be.
I mean, obviously there are things that we can use to benefit us with it. But boy, no, I don't know what you guys think about it.
Boy, it's scary in the sense that it's new, relatively new. And it's just at the cusp of its development. So, you know, what we're seeing now and the power of ChatGPT and all of that is really the tip. But clearly, it is a very, very powerful tool. Which
good word. Tool.
Yeah, it's a tool. It's a powerful tool, and it can bring a lot of benefit if it's deployed in areas where it makes sense to deploy it. But man have to control it. It can't control man. And I tell you, and if the wrong people control it, it can be a very dangerous tool too. Because its capacity, for example, to deceive people and commit fraud on people and so is very, very powerful as well. So that is an area where I think we have to be very careful. And then the whole misinformation era, because we're in an era of pervasive misinformation too, you know. And that is something that we have to guard against. And this is going to be a tool that can further entrench that. So it's not a normal thing. And I'm glad that there's a move afoot internationally to say, well, listen, we have to really look at how we regulate this thing. Because you can't just make it run wild.
I feel like that is exactly what it is. And this is why we are, you know. It's going to come down to the regulation. But Marsha, me grew up in an era, right, where the internet was, what do you mean? You know what I mean? I remember, like, even if you look at even music, there was a time where people say, oh my God, people streaming music is it's gonna kill everything. And to an extent, a certain part of it has died, but are people consuming in the same way? So my thing sometimes is, are you going to be late or are you going to be early? Right? Are we going to learn, figure it out? And then like Mr. Golden said, we'll figure out how to regulate, but please don't make us get left behind. Right? We need people to develop, we need people to figure this thing out so we can figure out how we make this beneficial to us as a society, because things are going to always move. But one thing me know is, bro, the earth are going to always ameliorate itself. Any day in any day, no man feel like them bigger than God or the universe. Just watch. Everything just flat. Because there's no man who can shelter himself from a flood. All you can do is run until it ease up. When the earth starts shake, what you can do? More than hold on until it stops shake. Right? So God will always be the man. Right? It's only we know if we know what we are do to ourselves, because and to the earth on a bigger level. But that's me I say, if we damage the earth, it's only going to damage us. If we're not damaging the earth, if you get what me I say. You know what I mean? Because it will always ameliorate itself.
Now we're contemplating, another junction in life. We live with our decisions because it all comes down to choice.
Both of you use social media, right? You ever find yourself going too deep into the rabbit hole, you know, dep on TikTok, I have to say, oh, I'm leader of the opposition, what am I doing on TikTok? or is it that, I mean, I know that we all kind of see social media and know the power of the platform. Do you use social media, or you have somebody who?
To be honest, I have somebody, people really, a team who help me with that. You know, but I do enjoy watching videos and so on and TikTok. You know, obviously I have to manage my time. You know, because I have a lot of things I have to deal with. But I do, you know, it is a incredible source of information and entertainment. So from that point of view, I think it's transformational.
Enough thing I learned from TikTok, you know, man.
All right. Just the other day, Kende said to me, Kende say, yo, Jesse, you need to really go in on TikTok because I have not really gone into that world yet. But I'm like, yo, I can't bother with this. She's like, no, listen, whatever you want, it will feed you in the thousands. So she's like, so we just acquire a property the other day and we do some reno and we have to do something. So she's like, Jesse, I am finding things that I didn't even know existed, you know?
She'll tell you, say, don't be late.
Yeah, no, but
she'll tell you.
No, but my thing too is, you know, I know everything for everybody. Some things that go past me, some things may I go catch.
Yeah, but Jesse, you know, she said, a TikTok around the world right now.
Yeah.
All right, right now, all 90% of these artists in Jamaica are popular because their song translates well
from TikTok.
Legitimately. And that's just the world we're living in. Everybody have a device in them hand, and TikTok.
But but through me know all things, me know that the world still have two type of food, right? None of them better than, and because you can have great food that's fast also. But me understand say, yo, there is that world. There's the artists that translate from TikTok. And then there's the Jesse Royal 35, 40 years. Right?
That's true.
So I'm not necessarily going to be like, if I'm not a part of this or if I don't understand this. My thing is, you know, I have to understand it. But I still understand my career on a bigger level and it's important for we show the youth them to this because sometimes them get so confused and think it's one route. You know what I mean? And if I don't water it down or if I don't become less of, or if I don't. And I'm not saying that anybody is watering it down. I'm just saying that make them know, say, hey, there's a whole heap of avenues. So you can take the TikTok road, you can take the steady hard work road, you can mix your hard work with your smart work, you can, you know what I mean? But
I hear
acknowledge all of the roads because even with enough of the crime in Jamaica right now, because the man them feel like, bro, the man them not no hope, bro. The man them not feel like them not no hope and they know, say, bro, I know one way, it's not only quick.
Let me ask you something. Do you feel under pressure in a sense where you have to be careful of your content that you're pushing through because of how sensitive this generation is now?
Definitely.
Well, I respect that because I think, you know, we have to nurture them the right way. And the artists have a responsibility. Of course, the artist must reflect life too, you know, as well as be an inspiration for what life becomes. So it's a symbiotic thing. It works both ways.
Right.
But there's a responsibility in Jamaica right now to try and show the youth them a righteous path of moving forward, you know? And it's a world where there's so much misinformation, as I said before, and bad influences and things that can take over the lives of young people. So it's very important that our artists have that understanding that part of their role to achieve greatness is to make sure that they are having a positive inspiration on the others who they have, who are listening to their, consuming their music.
Fully agree. But I'm going to add on to that, and I feel like Jamaica, where Jamaica reaching out, I got to take a holistic thing. It take the government to take care of the teacher them, so them feel inspired when them go teach the youth them, right? It take the leaders to inspire the like, you know what I mean, like the nurse to feel like she's valuable. And I feel like when we all are educated, inspired, and up, Jamaica will be, because it's not the land make Jamaica what it is.
No.
Jamaica's biggest resource has always been its people, from them time till now. And it's not the rich man either.
No.
I can tell you that much.
No, it is.
Right? No. It's the man with little who makes so much out of it. So my thing is, how do we figure out how to just create a space that encourages, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's like encourages growth, but growth from a rootical level.
What you guys feel? How we do it as a country? We all know Jamaica is a little dot on the map, but the impact per capita, it's insane. How do it? Like even in sports. So
you said it's not the rich man do it, and you're right. I mean, the power of the Jamaican brand which is a bit of a cliche, but the power of the Jamaican culture, from our language to our music and all our creative energy that we push out, which is we punch so far ahead of our way. It's coming out to the masses of the people. Yeah. And it's forging our historical experience and the way that life has evolved here and how communities live and how people grow and what they experience. Yeah. You know, and some of the elders who had influence, because even a man like Mortimer Plano, as one of the pioneering Rasta man, right? In Trenchtown. Bob and Peter and Bonnie growing them hands, so to speak, in terms of their consciousness. And that has impacted the world in the most profound way. Because the wailers and music of that generation has inspired freedom fighters all across the world. And it's so much so that when Zimbabwe was getting their independence, you know, who they invite to come perform? Bob. You know, because they realize that the power of his message is a liberating force for people. So, you know, that is coming out of our experience. You know, and then even in sports, so how is it that we're such amazing athletes too? But you have to kind of rate the Cuban government and people, because they gave us GC Foster College. And that has meant that our school youths have properly trained coaches all across the island, which is what sets us apart, because our track program in particular, I believe, has the benefit of proper coaching at the grassroots level from an early age. So that shows you the power of institutions and why institutions are vital.
That's the nurturing. Because essentially, you know, we some West African we know for run. You know, we just build with it. We make for this. But then as Mr. Golden has said, the nurturing, and I think, like him said, GC Foster and a lot of these other, and we need more, right? And we need, think about this. Think about the place where Bob Marley come from. Don't have one of the greatest concert halls in the Caribbean. That's madness.
Even a musical academy.
No, listen to me, if you ever go to Nashville, Tennessee and see what Dolly Parton and see how them respect what country music means to them. Right, so my thing is, use what you have and stop work on what you're doing. You know what I mean? In terms of like, we have so much here
but we don't understand the power of it. And we don't understand the importance of investing in it and nurturing it. Because even in Trenchtown, where Bob and them grow, I mean, Bob was from 9 Mile in St. Anne originally, but he came to town and that was where he was, in Trenchtown, you know. There are various assets there that can help to develop the community and bring people and the world to Trenchtown, you know. Because but just mobilizing the state and the different agencies around what needs to be done to make those things become what they should become is the hardest task. And I tell you, it takes so long and people don't reply to the correspondence. Sometimes you wonder if a political motivation why them don't want to big it up because you behind it. You know, all those isms and schisms are at play in our country and it holds us back.
You think it has something to do with the crime and the toughness of the communities?
Yeah, well, let me tell you, yes, they're gritty, as I'm saying, gritty communities in a man that they were involved in things, as they would say, and so on. But at the same time, you can make progress and you can do good things happen on a regular basis. And if you come to the people with a clean heart and clean hands and show them, say you want to help them move forward in life and show them the value of what they have, and they understand that too. You can achieve things, but sometimes it's the structures of the society that make it so hard to make certain progress. You know, that's and we have to, and it's in the mindset of the leaders of the country and the bureaucrats. That's a big part.
And the hunger, and not just, I mean, in terms of food, but just in terms of hunger for opportunity, hunger for, you know, what makes some youth like pledge allegiance to something, and it's like it's weird to me. But then I'm like, just from thinking now, you realize that, bro, if him belly did full, or if him did educated, there's no way you could have talked to him a certain way, or there's no way that he wouldn't be valuing his time or his children's time or his life or the future. You know what I mean? And I feel like it really stemmed from man, them hungry.
They must need an outlet.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Golden, you remember the first time we met?
Well, we've met a few times. I'm trying to remember what the first. I remember we met at a funeral.
So that was the first time. And,
and that was a wicked boy.
That was a rough one. And it got me thinking, how many times do you have to deal with a phone call for say, yo, Miss Peggy daughter, or you know, say the man will sweep up the Arnett Garden field, them kill him little nephew, you know him good man, Ray. How you cope with getting them bad news there at daytime, bossy?
Boy, that's a very deep question. Give thanks for that question. You know, for much of my life, I never had to cope with things like that. I mean, the most traumatic event for me for most of my life was when my father died in 1996. And I was like 31 then. So, you know, I never really had, you know, obviously other things that happened. But since going into representational politics and being with the people, and you see the level of, you know, crime and violence that exists in the country, and you just, how you deal with it, you have to try and be spiritually grounded. Yeah. You have to really embrace God or Jah. You have to embrace that and realize that, you know, life is a complex thing and a mystery, and things happen which we'll never understand. But but as long as your intentions are good and you're here to help people, you just have to continue and go through and just see where the journey leads you. But it is not easy dealing with the trauma around you. Yeah. And, you know, it isn't. And you know, mental health, you have to meditate. You have to kind of be self-aware as well, because to cope with these things, because it is a real thing, you know.
And I've heard about you, and you are somebody who actually care, and like you're in tune with people, you know. So I can imagine how much heavier it is. I mean, for me,
me get on the ground, you know.
No, then that
right now, my trunk, me not have my trunk. Me know Mr. Golden trunk with a full of things, cause the interaction daily with the people, you know.
And
there's so much. I mean, fires, for example, apart from death, you know. You know, Jamaica have this phenomenon of, you know, where a lot of the housing stock is old and they need a massive, you know, program to deal with that. And then, you know, of course, the electricity system and the wiring system and all that is our problem. So you have a proliferation of fires where people get wiped out, them homes gone, you know, and it happens frequently, and it's very dislocating as well. So there's a lot of issues that people are, you know, poor people in this country have to deal with, which is why the mission must be to uplift them and to uplift the society. So we come out of that and give people the right opportunity. The youth, when you are talking about who, you know, how, you know, them hungry, as you say. And them hungry for, it's not just food, but them hungry for a chance man, opportunity. For love. Them hungry for so many fundamental things that we have to try and bring to them, you know.
And we can't wait too late, you know what I mean?
You love sports too as well.
Yes, man.
So you're also chairman of Arnett Gardens.
Yes.
So that
mad thing, man.
You never know. Yeah, man. A whole heap of, so you have you follow up sports on a world level, like you have a Premier, you have an English.
Yeah, man. Well, I do.
Where side?
Man United, you know, and I don't care what man wants to say.
Bless up yourself.
So you stand United, Man United.
Definitely. But we're going through a rough patch here.
We are.
Going through a rough patch here.
You have to kind of firm up yourself to admit it
believe
sometimes.
Believe in that Anthony I got fight him way. You know, Russia go.
We're going to get it together.
Yeah, we're going to get it together.
For that season,
But let me tell you, I'm not a tribalist, so I will appreciate Man City playing. I will appreciate Arsenal.
Yeah, it's hard to Arsenal play one of the most beautiful seasons. I see them play, and it was so. I mean, I did not want City to win from jump.
City with no pity.
Don't do that. No, City with no pity.
Well, you have man. They have achieved success, and you big them up for that. But also, you mean Barcelona and the tiki-taka style.
Madrid on my side.
But you see the common factor, Pep Guardiola. So, you know what I'm saying? A system ball game of play over here.
Absolutely. But the football in Jamaica is going through an interesting phase, you know.
Yeah.
Because I was part of a group that was really instrumental in changing the paradigm of how club football is operated in the country. We started this thing called the Professional Football Jamaica Limited to be a new entity owned by the clubs with a proper governance structure that is seeking to bring investment and sponsorship in a really strategic way to the football industry. Because, you know, one thing I'm a bit concerned about, for example, is that our emphasis on the national squad and making it to the World Cup and so on has meant that really we're drawing on footballers who have any kind of connection with Jamaica, and that's great. But the question is, what is the developmental impact of that on us, and how sustainable is that? Right. You know, we have ballers coming out of the Premier League now who are increasingly getting signed by clubs, you know, all over the world. In fact, I'm big up Trudy Carter right now because I heard today that she got signed by a club in Mexico. Big up Trudy. She's from Arnett Gans, you know, from Brooklyn. So
nice.
But I mean, we at Arnett Gans have been trying to become a nurturing environment. I want to big up Speed too from Cavalier, because he has really had that vision of making Cavalier into a developmental club, focusing on younger players, and that model is very important because the financing of the football is still not where it needs to be, and it is a struggle to keep the clubs going, but there's so much talent, and if you have the right systems for developing that talent, Jamaica can really become a source of international ballers. We already are, but it can grow and grow and grow.
Of course, I have to remember that back in '98 when we made it to the World Cup, it was a good balance of international and local talent that made us reach.
And the core of that, although Dion Burton scored the crucial goals at crucial times, you know, but the core of that team was it local ballers.
Right. And
Tapa Whitmore, Peter Cargill, and the defense, Tati Brown,
Ricardo
Dixon, etc. Exactly, Shati. So, you know, we shouldn't, I think when we're looking at the national level, we need to realize it's important to give exposure to our locally grown players, because if you don't give them that exposure, then sometimes clubs won't even sign them, because there are certain requirements for having played for your national team in order to qualify to play at a certain level in certain other countries. So, you know, I'm watching that whole thing, but I'm not really happy with the current configuration of it. I think we need to have a more development.
That entity sounds good though, because I've always felt like we have talent, right? We have ballers. What we lack in Jamaica at times is discipline and development. Right? Meaning say, the man them we say star up the thing, they didn't start taking football serious at 15 years old. It's not, I'm going to play Manning Cup. No, it's from 5 years old. Them don't even see them parents for 3 months, 6 months, because life is dedicated to football. What I hope is that even man like Leon and Demari and all of the Michael and Nana will inspire them to, okay, it's possible, right?
Of course.
Now, seeing that is one thing, understanding the route there is a next thing, right? So we hope, say, as time go on, them help to expose that part of it. So the youth them know say it's possible, yes, but understand that there's a route that everybody took. Messi didn't skip a line. Right? Messi still went through a program. Him still did have to go through him development stages. Ronaldo, everybody, you know what I mean? And that is something I feel like we have to ensure so the youth them value to like the process.
Gentlemen, we could attack from now till morning. We know both
enough things we don't even touch yet.
You don't know reality. Look at them, man, because I'm there and I say, we can't have you sit down.
So maybe the next one, we'll go up on the hillside. Because me, forward dog a few in the place. So the next time, inside. We'll pick deal, probably St. Thomas or something.
Okay. No
link
problem.
Up here and see what's going on.
Man, that would be nice, man.
Man.
Take a breeze out.
So until we meet again, until we link up again in the cut, you never know who are going to show up in the barbershop and reason. As you say, we're breaking new ground. Rasta man can join the conversation. I know things get deep, isn't it? So you don't know. Respect, gentlemen.
Give thanks, Mr. Marshall. Give thanks, Jesse.
Blessings, Mr. Golden. Marshall, family. Pleasure for being.
Now this is me in the future. Always want to prove a point. Now we're contemplating another junction in life. We live with our decisions. It all come down to choice. It all come down to choice. Hey, it all come down to choice. Whoa. It all come down to choice. It all come down to choice. Hey, I made use of my opportunity. Now I'm where I wanna be.